I've been sitting on this one. It is from the New York Times. It is titled The 21 Best Comedies of the 21st Century. So far, I have not even looked at this. When I do article episodes, I like to do them cold. Let's see what we find here. The Times lays out the rules, picking our 21 favorite American comedies of the 21st century. Note American comedies. Involved hard choices and tricky questions. What even counts as a comedy in an age of dramedy and comic drama and depressed cartoon horses? How do you account for changing times and jokes that age badly, stars less than amusing off-screen offenses? Is there more to a great comedy than how many times it made you laugh? We have no absolute answers, only the arguments that have resulted in this list arranged in chronological order. So this is just a list of the 21 best, not ranking any of them. The first one, from the year 2000 to the present, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Larry David says, I've had the same expectations for the show I have for everything else in my life, which is to say, zero. I kept hoping it'd get canceled. It didn't work out. I had the long layoff between seasons 8 and 9, a 5-year hiatus. I guess I realized I have more fun doing the show than anything else I do. I take it year by year. TV Larry is me, but way more ballsy. Conflicts arise, as they invariably do in my life, and he has a more direct way of handling them. My perception that is usually morally on the right side. I don't think a lot of people see it that way. Good choice there. So far, so good. Chappelle's Show started in 2003, ran from 2003 to 2006. Bits like the racial draft or a sketch in which Chappelle and Wayne Brady fought to host the show exploited Chappelle's fascination with the overlap of black identity and celebrity image building. In the infamous Clayton Bigsby sketch, Chappelle played a blind Southern black man who thought he was white, a confusion that allowed him to become a celebrated white supremacist, the American dream in action. The Bigsby sketch was notable for its machine gun use of a word you can no longer get away with on TV that may be a problem for many current viewers, and the sketches that indulge a fixation with women's breasts haven't aged well, but Chappelle was and is an instinctive and equal opportunity offender. He was ready to play with any variety of cultural or racial cliche, as in the sharp sketches on haters and keeping it real. Tying it all together is laid-back cool. Good choice there. All right, third up on the list, Arrested Development. 2003 to 06, 2013 to 2019. I know people love this. I just could never get into it. I gave it a couple tries. I'm not a hater, but I am not a fan. One of the showrunners said, one of my favorite things was how poor David Cross had to put on this blue makeup, and he would talk about how difficult it was to get it off. He would say, I want to show you something, just watch, and he'd take his pinky and he'd push it into his ear, and then he'd pull it out, and there'd be a tiny bit of blue on there, and it had been like a month. To make matters worse, then we put him in sparkles, and I'm telling you, if you were to hunt down David Cross, I bet you there's a sparkle still secreted on his body somewhere from 2006. Next up, 2005 to 2013, The Office. I love The Office. I watched The Office from episode 1 because I had seen the British version, like the pilot, like everybody else. Once the Diversity Day episode aired, I went, oh, wow, this thing is going to be great. I don't know what to say about The Office that hasn't been said. There are 2 podcasts that pick over every single episode, one by Jenna Fisher and Angela Kinsey, and they are quoted here by the Times. The other by, what's his name? The guy that plays Kevin. What's your name? That guy. He's got a podcast too. Great choice there, The Office. Next up, The Comeback, 2005 to 2014. Now, when I did over Memorial Day, the top sitcoms of all time, The Comeback did really well too. Am I missing out on this? Are any of you fans of The Comeback? I've never heard anybody talk about this show, but here it is on yet another list. The Times says the 2 brilliant seasons fall into the 2000s genre of cringe comedy series like Curb and The Office, whose laughs relied on discomfort, but this was a sophisticated variation on the theme, inviting you to question why exactly Valerie is the butt of the joke. I might have to pony up for HBO Max and watch this one. All right, the next one impressing me that this is on here, because this is not highbrow comedy, but it is great. From 2005 to the present, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. The Times says growth is overrated. Rob McElhenney says, we try really hard. We never take an episode off. We start every writer's room the same way, which is us banging our heads up against a whiteboard, trying to figure out how to do something we haven't done before. That's why we've been able to do what we've been able to do for the last 15 years. The good news is that so much of the fabric of the show is based on satirizing Western culture, and the culture continues to bestow us gifts. Have we always stuck to the landing? No, because we're all finding as we continue to progress and evolve, we have certain blind spots, but it never comes from a place of malice. A huge part of the comedy is that you want to take risks. You want to jump into the abyss and see what happens. You're going to make mistakes. Then hopefully we learn from those mistakes and then we fix them. What a great show. I have to add that to my rewatch list. I love that one. There's just no time ever. Next up, I think this is maybe the most overrated thing in the history of everything. From 2006 to 2013, 30 Rock. I'm a known disliker. I don't want to use the H word. Disliker of 30 Rock. I think Alec Baldwin carried this show. Sorry, unpopular opinion. You can complain. Tweet me at DCNPod. The Times writes, the best part of 30 Rock is its pace. A lot of single-camera comedies of its era used a more naturalistic mockumentary format, and those that didn't tended towards a more wistful rhythm, but 30 Rock never goes more than a few seconds without a punchline, and its humor comes in every conceivable format. And while it has a few go-tos, food and ego mostly, it will find the joke in just about anything. Next up, Party Down. Whoa. Now, I've been talking about this show. I never heard of it when it aired in 2009 and 2010, but I have started watching it on Hulu, and they are bringing it back. Party Down. This is one you've missed out on. Stop listening to this podcast. Go watch Party Down right now. Party Down is never repetitive. Each episode reveals more about our main characters through the friction between the way they see themselves as an actor, a writer, a comedian, a future owner of a Soup and Crackers franchise, and the way the party hosts and the guests see them as has-beens, failures, and nobodies in pink bow ties. Times writes, every time I've tried to rewatch one episode of Party Down, I have instead rewatched every episode of Party Down. And each time through, I'm more convinced that the season 2 episode, Steve Guttenberg's birthday, is one of the best half hours of TV in living memory. Next up, 2009 and 2015, Parks and Recreation. Everybody tells me this is great. I never have been able to get into it. I just have always seen it as not The Office. That may be unfair. It's my opinion. The Times writes, the best work advice I ever got, that it matters a lot less what you're doing and a lot more of who you're doing it with. And that's a defining precept of Parks. You know, that is really good career advice. I'm going to cut and paste that and share that with my family. That is really good advice. It doesn't really matter what the episode is about, whether it's filling the pit, including a scouting troop, battling intestinal illness, broadcasting a fundraiser, compiling a time capsule, running for office, extracting a tooth, or mourning the death of an icon mini horse. As long as you're with Leslie Knope and company, it's going to be a good time. Let's stop there and do more of this list tomorrow. So that is today's Daily Comedy News. Follow the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We'll do the rest of the list tomorrow. See you then.